You watched the speech just like I did. In years past, the State of the Union has been used as a time to try and unite Americans despite our differences. It was a time to highlight our shared common heritage, our shared foundational beliefs, and to show how the president was working within that common foundation to try and build the country up and to identify problems and issues to look forward to trying to solve in the future. That's what the State of the Union has historically been. That was not what we saw last night. The State of the Union that President Biden gave was an unstately, vitriolic disaster. President Biden went out there and basically declared war on half of the country. He made a comparison of Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. It's not just a meme anymore. He is now comparing Trump to Adolf Hitler, and by proxy, you and me and everybody that supports Trump must be Nazis. He declared war on half the country. He declared war on common people like you and I. Instead of focusing on the issues that everyday Americans, like you and me, want to see him focus on, whether it be the wide open border, the fact that groceries and food prices have gone up significantly since he's been president, the fact that inflation is out of control, the fact that our public schools are being used to indoctrinate children into a psychotic alphabet mafia, he went out there and said that he was going to defend your right to kill your child in the womb, and that he's going to defend transgenders who are children instead of helping them because they are obviously in need of psychological help. He said he's going to go forward and defend their ability to mutilate their own bodies, to use life-altering hormones. If you try and get in his way, it's not going to look good for you. The President of the United States even he mocked decorum by openly attacking the Supreme Court of the United States, by saying that they had no idea what the power, the electoral and political power that women had in this country because of how they ruled in Dobbs versus Jackson when they overturned Roe v. Wade. I understand if you're someone who is pro-choice, who thinks that Roe was a good measure, that's one thing. But to openly mock, defy, and attack the Supreme Court in the State of the Union address is beyond unacceptable and inappropriate. It's beyond even common decency. How he could go out there and do that, I've never seen anything like that. President Biden proved to the nation last night that he is the most divisive, he is the most condescending, he is the most vitriolic, and he's obviously the most angry president that we have had in the last 4 years. That we have had in the last 8 years. That we've even had in the last 4 decades. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. I'm a student of history. I've never seen anything like it in my studies of history. At least not in the common model. And yet that was the display that we saw from the President of the United States last night. The border doesn't matter. Inflation doesn't matter. The fact that you can't feed your kids, the fact you can barely survive, that doesn't matter. All that matters to Biden is whether or not you support Trump, whether or not you support the sacrifice of unborn children, and whether or not you support the alphabet mafia. That is all that matters to him. And that was very clear last night. President Biden and his supporters have openly declared war on on half the country. But Republicans should be telling you that we have heard his declaration, we have received it, and we are ready to fight. Not with bullets, not with guns, but we're ready to fight him in the ballot box. We're ready to fight him through the grassroots campaigns. We are ready to fight him on Election Day this coming November with Donald J. as our leader, leading the charge forward onto hopefully a next 4 years full of hope and optimism. The Republican Party needs to be the party of optimism, the party of hopefulness, but also a strong and courageous party willing to its constituents and willing to defend the American people. When you have a president stand up there and call you essentially the equivalent of a Nazi for not supporting abortion, you should have a place to be able to turn and be able to feel comforted. Be the Republican Party. The Republican Party going forward needs to preach a message that is loud and clear to the other side. We are not going to stand for your baseless attacks any longer. We're not going to sit back and allow you to let millions of people pour over the border unattended. We're not going to allow you to replace us. We're not going to allow you to cheat in elections. We're not going to allow you to murder your own children. And we're not going to allow you to force me to pay for your own children. We are not going to allow you to force me to sit by while you try and convince my child that he was born or she was born in the wrong body. We are not going to sit by and allow the insanity to continue on any longer. It's over. It's done. Moving forward, you're going to see a new day in America come November. When Donald Trump takes the stage for the inauguration in January of 2025, he's going to be surrounded by supporters and by organizations, supporters like me and organizations like the Heritage Foundation, who are going to push for policies that are going to help everyday Americans like you. We're going to push to make sure that you can actually afford to have a family. We're going to push for policies that promote the family as the base unit of society. The family is the bedrock and foundation of society, and we are going to recognize that. We're going to push to show people that they can find, not just in conservative policies, but in trusting Christ and in trusting God. Because we know that God is the guarantor and the grantor of our rights. God, the government's role is to protect the rights that God has granted to us. God is who gives us hope. God is who gives us salvation. God is who grants us the rights that we enjoy. And we need to start pushing forward and showing people, gone are the days of secularism. Gone are the days of you thinking that if you feel good inside, then everything's going to be okay. Gone are the days of this feelings-based morality. We've seen it's not working. If you look around, if you go outside and look around right now, go outside, look around at your city, look around your town, look around your country, you will see broken, hurting people who are trying to fill the void with drugs. They're trying to fill the void with vanity. They're trying to fill the void with money. They're trying to fill the void with sex. They're trying to fill the void with alcohol. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And the government's not going to make it any better. If you try and change yourself, it's not going to help. If you try and convince yourself that you were born in the wrong body and you change the body that you were born in, it's not going to help. The only thing that is going to give people hope and comfort at all is God. And it's the hope and salvation found in Jesus Christ. And we need to push forward as a movement with that message as our foundation, that nothing can be achieved apart from the precious blood of Christ shed on the cross for us. Be the base foundation of our message. And then going forward from that, we can begin promoting policies that promote the idea that Christianity is actually a net benefit for this society, promote the idea that the historical truth, rather, Christianity is what helped found this nation, and that its laws and moral foundation were built upon the Christian Bible. And we need to go forward and promote policies that promote the family, promote the nuclear family, promote marriage at a young age, give people benefits for having more kids, not less, give them benefits for staying together in marriage, not breaking apart with divorce like you see now in a lot of welfare programs. We need to go forward and build strong families that will build a strong society. We need to stop pushing for people to murder their children in the womb. We need to stop pushing for people to essentially castrate their children with these hormonal cross-sex hormones that are ruining lives. We need to stop pushing for this stuff. We need to close the border today. We cannot allow there to be one more Lincoln Riley, and her name is Lincoln, not Lincoln, Mr. President. We cannot allow there to be one more Lincoln Riley in this nation. We need to make sure that every single dangerous criminal is locked up, and we need to make sure that every single person that is here illegally, that has no business being here, gets sent back to where they came from. The border needs to close now. We have to stop the flow of drugs in this country. We have to stop the flow of dangerous criminals coming into this country. We have to stop the insanity. While the Republican Party right now is apparently too busy promoting people who sound like they're about to cry at any given moment, we need to have strong leaders who are willing to go forth, who are willing to say the tough things that need to be said, and who are willing to look our enemies in the eye and tell them, you will not harm this country anymore. I am a citizen of heaven. My citizenship is in heaven. But while I am on this, I am a citizen of the United States of America. God put me here through adoption, not unlike some of y'all. Some of y'all, God put you here through the natural family. He put me here through adoption. And He expects me to be a good steward of the place where I live. I love this country too much, and I love my God and His commands too much to allow us to just sit back and just let this insanity continue. It needs to stop now. I'm willing to do my part. I'm willing to do what I need to do, whether that's through the election process, through grassroots campaigning, through any bit of hard work that I need to go out and do. I'm willing to do what needs to be done to save this country. The question is, are you? Are you willing to buy into a vision that's going to help give hope and optimism going forward? Are you willing to buy into a movement that's going to stop this moral insanity, that's not just going to say, we just need to have a neutral public space, but is going to say, no, these are what the ground rules are. These are what the ground rules always have been since the beginning. We're not changing them now. In the places we have changed them, we have to change them back. And this is how it's going to be. It is time. It is past time for Christians and for conservatives to take a stand in this country. If the Christian church had taken a stand the way it should have, Joe Biden would never have ever allowed to be anywhere near the Oval Office. In 1980, Jerry Falwell Sr. started the Moral Majority to organize Christians in such a way that we would be the most powerful voting bloc in the country and be able to tip the scales of elections. Jerry Falwell Sr. was able to mass mobilize Christians to go out and fight for the foundation of this country, to fight for the moral fiber, and to make sure that the insanity fortunately has come forth today was at least quelled for a period of time. We need that kind of leader again today. I don't know who it's going to be. If I'm being honest, I don't know who that leader is. I love Donald Trump. He's not the moral leader that we need. He is the figure that we need to be able to follow and that I do trust to lead us politically. But when it comes to the moral foundation of this country, he's not. I cannot put my trust in him. I'm sorry, I can't. I love the guy, but I can't. We need a new Jerry Falwell. We need somebody who's able to politically, morally, and religiously unite Christians in such a way that we will be able to stand up, stop the madness, and continue going forward into a new day, a new dawn, and a new beginning in America. Last night you saw in the United States essentially declare war on half the country. You saw the President of the United States say that abortion is this amazing, tremendous thing that we need to protect, that the border crisis is not a crisis. He's trying to gaslight you into thinking that nothing is wrong and everything's okay. And he tried to gaslight you into thinking that the economy's okay. We saw him act with anger, vitriol, and vindictiveness and divisiveness towards everyday Americans like you and me. This is no longer a battle between Democrat and Republican. This is no longer a battle between whether you're a little bit more conservative or a little bit more liberal. This is not what we're facing anymore. What we are facing is a group of elitists like Biden who think that they can just make up their rules, go out and do whatever they want, and you and I will just be forced to sit back and watch it happen. It's time to stand up and it's time to say no. We're going to stop the madness, we're going to cut the head off the giant, and we're going to go forward and create new society that mirrors the foundation that this country was built off of and provide hope and comfort to every single American. The State of the Union last night was a disaster. It was a symbol of a country in decline. But it's time for us to turn that ship around. We cannot allow this decline to progress. We cannot allow this country to fall. The president has made his own stand, and this is where I stand. I stand with the American people. I stand with the United States of America. I stand, first and foremost, overall, with Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. And there is nothing that will remove me from this spot. I will not be marching back. The only way I will be marching is forwards, onward to victory, with Christ by my side, the Holy Spirit in my heart, and the love for America pumping through my veins. I hope that you will join me. I hope that you will not just watch this podcast and think, that was good. Now I'm just going to sit back and do nothing. I hope that you will join me going forward. Because I can't do this alone. I'm just a kid in Lynchburg, Virginia, a senior in college. I'm about to graduate. There's not much, very limited that I can do, especially on my own. But as a united force, as a united movement, if we all band together, especially in the church, if we all band together, we set aside the distinctions for just a minute. I'm a Baptist. I'm proud to be a Baptist. I'm very vocal about being a Baptist. But this isn't about Baptist versus Presbyterian. This isn't about Methodist versus Pentecostal. This isn't about Protestant versus Catholic. This is about us marching forward together to save this nation. That is the only path forward. Whether you're a little bit more conservative or a little bit more moderate, whether you're a Baptist or a Presbyterian, if you love this country, you hate what you see going on right now, and you felt attacked by the president last night, it's time for us to set aside whatever small little petty differences that we may have, and time for us to march forward with a vision in mind to be able to take back this country together. Because that's the only way we're ever going to do it. We're never going to do it alone. We are only ever going to do it together. That's all I have on the State of the Union last night. It was something, man. It was something. Um, I I've never seen anything like that before. As an American, watching my president stand up there and basically insult me and those like me for half of I've never seen anything like that. The State of the Union is supposed to be an address about statesmanship, about unity, about the country coming together, and instead last night we just watched a Biden campaign rally take place on the House floor. It doesn't matter that your money is going to Ukraine and their border while our border is wide open. All that matters is that their border is defended, apparently. It doesn't matter that you can't afford to feed your kids. As long as somebody on the other side of the world can feed their kids, that's all that matters. That's all that matters, that your money goes to that. It's a shame.